Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly angel oracle card reading for the week beginning September 18th, 2017. If you would like to get a personal reading with me, please go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services page. And of course, I still have all of those courses up at Gumroad. Please go over there and check that out. All the information is down below. We even have an angelic chakra clearing meditation for you if you're interested in that. And of course, if you would like to support me on Patreon, again, I leave all that information down below. So for this week, we're going to be using the messages from your Angels Oracle card deck by Doreen Virtue, pulling a crystal card like we usually do from the Rochelle Sharman deck, the Healing Crystal Oracle. I keep saying that wrong, but it's too much to read. So anyway, let's get going here. I just saw on the news that New York is now in sort of the watch area. It's not an official watch, but Hurricane Jose. So please be safe on the coast, guys, wherever that storm is heading. Hopefully it's not a big deal, but please just get prepared, okay? So let's get going here. Let's see what we have going on for the week of September 18th. All right, maybe this one more shuffle. That should do it. Let's see what we have. Serafina. Okay, so Serafina is kind of known as a baby card, but it's also about new beginnings, finding your passion even, having a fresh start in that area. Adriana, which is all about, follow our guidance. We're trying to guide you. Vanessa, making some hard decisions and getting back in touch with your strength. And my favorite card out of this whole deck, which is the Isabella card, which says, yes, it's time to get going on stuff. So let me just put these in order here really quickly, and let's start from the beginning. So we have Serafina. I am the angel of families. A happy change or addition is coming to your family. Now this card, for a lot of you, it could mean that there's an announcement of a pregnancy, either for you if you're able to have a baby or for someone in your family, but it doesn't have to mean that, okay? The Serafina card, I know it says here it's about families, and it is, but the Serafina card is also a baby card, okay? So whenever we see babies, it can be interpreted like it's your baby, right? So it could be an actual baby, or it could be, like I said, a project or a new beginning. But when you think about changes in your family and things taking a turn, this could even feel kind of like making amends or having a fresh start with your family, okay? Now that's not going to apply to everybody. See, guys, the only way that you're going to get something specific to you is if you get a personal reading. These are just general readings to give you a sense of what I do, okay, and the approach that I take. So just bear that in mind. So this could also, because there were a bunch of messages that came through with this card. Let me just get all of them here. Okay. Some families are changing location, and I almost feel like this might be some of you who just experienced Irma. Speaking of storms, some of you might have decided, okay, I'm not going back to Florida. I'm not doing this. Some of you may not have had a choice, and God bless you. I pray for you guys to have a quick recovery with that if, God forbid, if you lost your home or whatever. But there could be relocation. It could be making amends with your family. It could be someone getting pregnant, but something is shifting within your family, okay? Even if it's like you and your friends and you consider them your family, something new is coming about, something is shifting. But again, it can indicate a new beginning, maybe even a new project, a new way of moving forward. Maybe it's a family project. I mean, there's so many different ways to interpret that card. But let's move on to this. Adriana. So the Adriana card always talks about, we're trying to help you, right? We're trying to help you. Please listen to what we're telling you. Now the card says, I am leading you toward the answer to your prayers. Please listen to and follow the steps I am communicating through your intuition, thoughts, and dreams. Here's the tricky thing with this, especially in this coming week. It might be a little hard to listen for these messages, right? And I know we always do this whole catch-all thing where it's like, oh, there's so much negativity in the world right now. Guys, there's a lot of negativity with humanity. We have a lot of lack of empathy for one another sometimes. And, we only see some empathy come out of certain individuals when there's something major going on in the world. And just being a part of that sometimes can dull our senses a little bit, right? Because there's a certain programming going on, because I'm thinking of the example of feeling like you have to hold back on how you feel because societally speaking, it wouldn't be acceptable, what have you. before you can get to this part where it's like, okay, well, you just listened to us, I would encourage a lot of you out there to try to quiet the noise. You know, try to quiet the noise around you, whether it's like a boss that's on your case, or, you know, again, if there's some sort of fight going on with your family, whatever it is, really try to find that quiet time. That way, when you are dreaming, it's not like your psychological self is going in there and bringing up all your fears, but instead you're getting some guidance through your dreams, and your intuition is then spot on and trustworthy. Okay, so see what comes up. Again, I don't know, I feel like sometimes as human beings, we always want everything to be so obvious, and like, you know, like the universe is going to do parlor tricks for us so that we feel uplifted. I always say it's called chasing the spiritual high, right? And we need to get away from that. So this might be very, very subtle, some of the actions that you're guided to take. If you feel like nothing happens for you this week, pay attention to how you've been feeling, because there could be a message in that, okay? If this is a rough week for you, if you, I don't know, start dealing with anxiety, depression, or something very disappointing, or, you know, whatever comes up, look at why you feel the way you do, all right? And that's going to help you carry forward. You might find that you were, you know, in this coming week, you might have an epiphany like, oh my gosh, I always chased, I don't know, celebrity, for example. This is a common one. I wanted to chase celebrity because I thought if I was, I would somehow be above all these problems and people would love me and respect me, right? And if you come to that realization, well, that could be the change in direction, you know? Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, that's an ego pursuit. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to spend more time with my family. I'm going to focus more on the things that really matter, okay? I am also getting this message to give to you guys. Okay. I don't know what this is related to, but if you are getting the nudge to get up and go somewhere, okay? For example, God forbid, but let's say Jose does make landfall in the United States. If you feel the instinct to get up and get out, then do it, okay? Don't ignore that. If you are feeling like, okay, it is time for me to give up on this so that I can have a fresh start, do that, okay? Again, I'm not guaranteeing that anything profound is going to happen, you know, profoundly positive or whatever is going to happen in anybody's life. We're here to work, man, you know, and you gotta like stop being so expectant, I guess. I want to bring this up really quickly. Somebody was asking if I'm going to make a video about the whole Doreen Virtue thing. Probably not. I mean, if I change my mind later, then you'll know it. I don't want to get into that drama. I mean, there are people who don't even use angel cards, who have nothing to do with angel readings, and they're weighing in on it. It's just getting a little crazy and a little negative. But I will say that people who have asked me that, I haven't really been keeping up on it too much. So because people were asking me, I went and I watched one of Doreen's videos. And she said something that I was like, oh my God, you know, like that's true. And she said, I'm paraphrasing, forgive me, but in this video she was saying something like, you know, she didn't want to do readings anymore because people were getting very demanding for answers. And she felt like she was a one-trick pony. People would just come up and it was like they could, you know, stick a coin in the slot and they would have their fortunes read. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally relate to that, because that's what a lot of people's expectations are when it comes to mediums or getting a reading or whatever. But it plays into life, right? It's almost like we're standing there waiting for life to entertain us. If I put in the work, if I put my coin in the slot, dance for me. I think this is going to be a week where you're going to realize, game over, people, okay? Life isn't a game. It involves, and it's required of you to be an active participant in this world, okay? We're still kind of in that phase, unfortunately, where people interpret that like, okay, I'm going to go do social activism, and I don't know, I could do a whole other video on that, but sometimes that works and sometimes people are missing the mark, right? Or they're trying to be fair in one direction, which causes an unfairness for someone else, right? But they're, you know, some people get caught up in self-righteousness, being pretentious, you know. So there's an awareness, perhaps, for some of you that will break open this week. And you can start reevaluating, figuring out how you really want to move forward. What is true? What is not true? What is actually the authentic situation as opposed to what we're being told it is. And I'm not trying to get into conspiracy theories. Okay? This could be your friendships. This could be your love partnership. Again, for a long time, you guys know this, I've talked about this before, when I was in love partnerships, if anything went wrong in the relationship, it was always my fault, right? It was always my fault because there was something messed up with me, and now I know that that's not the case, that I was actually just in with, some bad partners, So this is a realization. For some of you, it might leave you a little numb. It might leave you a little stunned. But remember, you have to be an active participant. Start taking accountability for yourself and for your own path, right? So here we go into the Vanessa card. So it says, to make your decision, ask yourself, which way brings me closer to my divine purpose? Which way takes me away from it? And that's kind of what we were just talking about. The more you buy into stuff, sometimes that takes you off your path. Chasing celebrity, let's go back to that example. If that's what you've been doing your whole life, but you haven't been really connected into what really makes you feel fulfilled, well, now you're just living someone else. You're living a fantasy maybe for some people, right? You're not connected into your reality and what your true purpose is, okay? So again, this goes into that whole intuition thing. I think some of you are going to have some pretty profound, I'm kind of laughing because again, this is my favorite card. And there's all this work, okay? It's like roll your sleeves up, get in there, get your hands dirty, let go of what's not working, right? But I feel like every time I say let go of what's not working, there's always gonna be somebody out there who's having relationship problems and they look at their partner and go, you know what? I'm leaving you, right? And they think that if they go on to another partner, it's gonna be all good. It's not that kind of thing. It's on a really, it's in your internal world. Okay, something is going to have to shift there first. But then we have this card. Okay, so we have Isabella. It's where it's all leading to. Yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectations. Notice that she's nude. Okay, this is like, can I put it this way? Cut the crap. Cut the crap. Okay, quit telling yourself the old story. Quit, buying into stuff. Right? In this card, she's kind of exposed. She's not hiding anything. She's exploring new territory, right? And again, this could be you getting to know yourself on a different level. So when the card says, yes, it's time for this new venture, it doesn't have to, we were kind of talking about projects, so it could be that, but please don't just limit the message to that. It goes a lot deeper. All right. So let's get, if I could pick up the deck here, let's get the crystal card. And let's see what's going on. So forward movement, but not without cleaning up a little bit of mess first. Okay, and coming to maybe some resolution. There's a little bit of that going on, but it's more about, guys, it's going to be going on for a long time. We're changing our story. The world is changing. Right? And I know that can be very uncomfortable, but it is what it is. Yep. So here, as I'm saying that the world is changing, we have petrified wood, ancestors. This isn't your grandma's world anymore, okay? Like, it's not. And yes, our ancestors went through a lot of the same lessons that we'll be going through, or have been going through. But their landscape was different. Their environment was different, okay? So yes, we can pull the wisdom from our ancestors, but remember, you're still functioning in this world that they wouldn't have any idea what to do with, okay? Yeah, so this feels like a very societal kind of thing. So if we have these programmed responses to things, right? And it's like, well, I was taught by my family when I was growing up that this is right, this is right, this is wrong, this is wrong. Ooh, problem. Because, that can go into, that card can go into like ancestral healing, could even petrified wood, could even be past lives, however you want to read into that. But this feels like hanging on to old prejudices. You know what I mean? You've seen this thing going around on Facebook where it's like, hate is a learned behavior. Prejudice is a learned behavior. You got to crack open your way of thinking. If you dislike someone or something, this would be the week to stop and go, first of all, is that my authentic feeling or is that just how I was always trained? Right? And no one out there is perfect. No one out there is perfect. I was just watching this video that someone posted on Facebook, and it was a little kid that shot a deer. And the kid was adorable, but it was very off-putting for me personally that they were celebrating that this kid got his first doe. Like, and I come from Ohio, so hunting is a thing, right? And they're just going on and on and on. And I started thinking, I'm like, oh boy, you know, if people who are like, you know, animal activists saw this, they would freak out. And I kind of did too, a little bit. Like, it started going through my head, like, why are you teaching your child to do that? But on the other, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's very dichotomous kinds of takes on that, because that's their way of life, right? And they're going to use that doe for food. And if you don't agree with them, okay, but they would just as quickly turn and look at, you know, somebody who is against hunting, and they might even have the argument, and I know, because I've heard a lot of people, again, from where I'm from, you know, defend themselves and say, well, at least I could survive, right? I could survive without a grocery store. Could you? You know, and they'll be quick to remind you that our ancestors were hunters, you know, and that's what I'm getting at. So we could cause a war over these differing perspectives, or we could come in the middle and be okay with ourselves and just be like, is that how you live? What is your perspective on that? Okay. Could I personally ever hold up a gun and shoot an animal? No. But we have to get to this place where we're observing and trying not to condemn. Observing and trying not to judge, right? And getting to know somebody before we just give into our programmed recipe, right? Well, you're not a vegetarian, or you're not, you know, you're a hunter and I'm all about animal rights, therefore you are my enemy. That does not need to be the case. I feel like I'm talking for no reason. There are some weeks where I feel that way, where it's just not going to get through to anybody. But we'll get there little by little, and I'm going to end it there. So have a beautiful week, guys, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care.